breakfast. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody driving out there. Nobody.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. Free at last! Free at last! Thank Almighty!
You're listening to the Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
And welcome to Autry No Retreat on a wondrous Wednesday. So honored and humbled to have you with us, either through the radio waves that you may be taking in. And a big shout out to Pete Retta, a buddy of mine and one of the co-stars of Victory by Submission. I know he listens every day. Appreciate you, Pete. And all those folks that listen on, we have Guillemo over here looking like he's getting ready to come out of the corner against Mike Tyson.
Like Victory by Submission, your movie.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There's some fighting. All right, I get it. I get the connection there. I'm a little slow today. Today, as you say.
You got your gallon of unleaded right there. I don't know why you're not drinking.
You know how ashamed I am of that. My buddy here, I've been looking for a place to get my coffee other than Starbucks. Nothing against Starbucks, but the coffee ain't that good. I'm just hooked.
Yeah, and they're giving to wokeness.
Well, I don't even think about that. Well, I do, but I'm hooked too bad.
I was listening.
I'm not the only one. You see the lines in there. There's something in that coffee that's illegal.
We talked
There's
about
people going to go to jail at Starbucks because of stuff.
Probably. But does that bother you? So someone was telling me don't shop at Target anymore because they have trans clothing.
Well,
I don't know if I.
No, that doesn't. No, that doesn't. That's like a TV network. I don't watch CBS because they have such and such a show that has a gay theme, and I don't like that sort of thing. They say, and it's the same network that'll have Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck, the most traditional show. You have different, an eclectic collection, of things. So no, I don't do that. But what I'm embarrassed about that before the show, you slid over your coffee, your little shot of courage that you have coming in here to get your energy up. We're going to tell what he just did in 3 minutes. These millennials are unbelievable. What they can do in like 2.5, 3 minutes. It's an amazing thing. I'll share this little enlightenment with you in a minute. But he slides his coffee from a great place here. Let's give them a plug.
Yeah.
Even though they don't advertise on the show.
They don't. They should.
And they should.
Yeah.
This is a call out. Cup of Joy. Great place. And it is a cup of joy because it's a Christian run.
Christian focus. They got the throne of God in every cafe. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I think it's, Me and my wife call it the quinceañera chair because it's the quinceañera chair.
What's the quinceañera? What's that mean?
So
is it Spanish for what?
Latinas have a big party because they become a woman at 15.
Okay.
And it's called a quinceañera.
Kind of like a bar mitzvah.
Yeah, exactly. But for Latinas, they're officially a woman at 15.
Oh, because we call it a drunk down at the saloon. Are you ready for your first shot of Jack Daniels, boy?
Well, I don't think they're allowed to drink at 15. But
hair of the dog that bit you. Come on now, you're a man now.
Put some hair on your chest.
Put some hair. I heard that my whole life from my dad. Put hair on your
hair, son. That'll put some hair on your chest. When I was younger, I would do it. I'm like, when is it coming?
Exactly, man. I said that to Dyer. I said, drink that and put hair on your head.
Oh man.
But anyway, back to this coffee. Why I felt so ashamed. He slid his over. I buy mine at the woke capital of the world, Starbucks. And it's not that I what do they call that? They reflect or deflect or...
They reflect your values.
You project. No, you project it on, because they have a certain political belief. I'm going to project that on their coffee, that sort of thing. And I don't want to be one of those guys that does that. But when you when there's an alternative, like Cup of Joy here in town, that has even better coffee. And I've been meaning to stop by there fill it up and bring that in here. And I've got to start doing it because you slid it over.
Yeah.
And there it was.
Fill it up. Let it overflow like the song says, like the hymn. Because I go to a Christian coffee house. I don't go to the
and there it was for me to look at, the Christian latte right next to the pagan mocha.
Telling you.
And I'm saying,
you can at least make them more conservative, or not even conservative. You can even make them more non-woke by putting your name. So when they ask you your name, even though everybody knows you in town, they ask you your name. If these little young millennials don't know you or younger, they say, "What's your name?" You could say America First. So when they're, is there any America First?
Oh,
America First.
Okay.
You see?
Think they would say that? Here they're present with the baristas.
Some of the kids might.
The baristas would.
Can we get Trump 2024? Is there a Trump 2024?
We ought to try that one.
It needs to be a segment. We need to go in there.
Oh, gosh. And have the old little video camera going. Everything's taped out. Okay. Well, anyway, we got through that meaningless little opening. I know it's riveting radio now. Social media, you're not going to turn and do anything else right now. You are riveted to this radio station. Hey, listen, a lot to talk about today, but let's start off as well as locally, breaking news with Sloan and all that coming out. Verifying benefit. We'll get to that in a minute, though. The big Senate race down over in Pennsylvania, a key Senate race. The Republicans, if they're going to take back the Senate, cannot lose this seat, and it's vulnerable. The incumbent's not running. And you've got Mehmet, don't call me the Wizard of Oz, against David McCormick, the so-called establishment candidate. And again, a Trump-supported candidate versus the establishment. What's your take on it? Razor thin. By the way, right now, it stands 95% of the vote in and 31.3% for Mehmet, don't call me the Wizard of Oz, and 31.1% for McCormick. How do you think that's going to play out?
I got to see. I got to see the demographics and the numbers. I'm a little concerned, to be honest with you. I'm a Trump 2024 guy, and I think I have to debate you on this. I got to debate Dennis McCourt. A lot of my conservative friends, and you're in the independent lane, but
I'm conservative.
You're conservative, yeah.
But I'm not a member of a party.
A party, yeah. So
I'm like Will Rogers. He says I'm not a member of any organized party. I'm a Democrat.
I'm going to start using that. I'm not a member of any organized political party. I'm a Republican. we can't.
All right, but go ahead. Give me this Guillermo analysis. I think Oz pulls it out. Although
I think so too.
But Guillermo, here we go. The Reagan. Here we go again. Election controversy on the vote counting. They've got thousands of votes apparently that are not legible.
Yeah.
You can't read them. How in the world can you not read them? You check a freaking box.
Well, I don't know if they're referring to that or they're referring to maybe the signatures required. And this has been a problem in California for years. And I remember I was on a campaign, Johnny Teixeira, when he beat Jim Costa. He was winning by 1 vote per precinct. And they told us, Guillermo, all the volunteers, we got to go there because as they're opening these envelopes with the name, we got to make sure that the signatures match. And a lot of them were just squiggly lines. Unless you couldn't read them. But they told us there, hey, listen, you have to construe the writing most favorably to the person, and you cannot discriminate. And that was the reasoning. So even if it's a squiggly line, doesn't match, illegible, it's going to count.
And then I find it kind of ironic, even funny, that now in the old family feud, primaries are family feuds.
Oh, of the worst kind.
Of the worst.
I mean,
cutthroat, evil, goat, man. Mafia-esque, type stuff. And they're saying that because of the write-in nature, so as many of the write-in ballots have not been counted yet, they believe that works in the favor of McCormick.
Mm-hmm.
So the Oz team and the ones that aren't legible for some reason, their internal analysis metrics, logarithms, whatever you call it, has spewed out, this favors McCormick, this favors McCormick, the machine says. So they're in full boat. This has been rigged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another rigged election if it doesn't go Emmett Oz's way.
This is going to be forever the excuse on the right and the left. If you don't get what you want, your candidate doesn't win. It's rigged.
And don't get me wrong. I'm going to say it right now. It's going to get me in trouble, but I don't. You hear me say that. That's the last of my worries. On my priority list, I'm going to get criticized or I'm going to be X'd off of a party at a far-right Republican event or even a modern event. I'm not saying that I don't believe there were some voting irregularities in the 2020 election. In fact, I think by all indications, there were some significant. And these people would say, don't pay any attention to that. We know there's irregularities in every election, but it's not going to turn the election anyway. Don't they remember the Gore-Bush in Florida?
Yeah.
When just several hundred votes? You've had elections, in statewide elections, folks, that were decided by 10 votes.
Yeah.
It could happen.
It can happen in every election cycle. There's a close race.
So to say, don't even take the time to look at it and examine it and clean it up and scrub it. So it is truly, and this is not some right-wing catchphrase, it should be something we all adhere to, where it's easier to vote but harder to cheat.
Amen.
I don't care who came up with that. I don't know. I think it was some Republican or something. It doesn't matter. It's a great phrase, a great guiding principle to live by, right, in terms of elections.
Oh, yeah. We want a fair fight. Let's just be real. If you have kids and they're in a sport, they're in football, let's say, they still call it Pop Warner?
Yeah.
Okay, they're in Pop Warner.
I don't know. They'll probably have a gender-neutral term for that. Pop and Mana, still gender.
It's probably something else. But would you send your child out in the field knowing that, hey, listen, we're going to put you out there, but you're already down by 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that. We just want to fair. If Republicans lose, if I knew Trump lost without a shadow of a doubt in 2020 because he just wasn't the greatest candidate, or if he lost, I could accept it. But the fact is, I don't believe it was a fair fight. Now, the CNN, the Communist News Network, stated that, that Trump is now encouraging Oz to declare victory on a spectacular night. Now this,
what is he? He's like 80-1, isn't he? In terms of endorsements,
he's not. I don't know if he's 80. And
he's contesting the one loss.
Yeah, that was rigged. That was rigged. You know this. I know this. Everyone knows.
No,
this.
It's uncanny that that he is where he is. But
well, you know why? Right?
I don't buy. I know you're gonna shake your head on this. This whole thing that the Republican Party is embracing, that this is Trump's party, the Republican Party is Trump's party. Man, you guys need to stop with that.
No, I agree, Alan.
Trump is a major player, a major influence. He doesn't own the freaking party.
Okay, I agree. He doesn't own the party, but he's the lead. Would you be okay with us saying he's the leader of the party?
I think most presidents, for a period of time when they leave office, if they've done well, but you just can't. You don't. Independents don't want to hear that. Democrats that are thinking about voting for a Republican don't want to hear that. And you're going to look for an individual that's going to be his or her own person, and that every finger points to Ron DeSantis. And Trump does not want Ron DeSantis in there because he knows he can't control DeSantis.
I don't want Ron DeSantis in there.
Why?
No. Listen, okay, so you and I have never had this debate on Trump 2024. And
all right, well, let's take it. I think
we have to eventually.
We'll take a break here.
All right.
Come back and we'll
that'll be the tease.
I was going to go to Anna Navarro's comment, but we'll do that after.
Oh, man.
Because I want to hear your thought. Yeah, oh, gosh, yes. She doesn't like old white people.
That constitutional scholar.
She never met me, and she just does not like me, man.
Well, you're offending her.
Just by being old and white and straight. Dadgummit, sorry, Anna. I watched a few every once in a while with my wife. Jeez, I thought we were friends. This is Autry, No Retreat, 1550 KXEX, the best talk in town. We'll be right back.
Come on, baby, let's start today. Come on, baby, let's play.
What's the chorus of that song? Is it Come On Over? No.
The game of love. Love. The game of love. How do you know that? You're the. Oh, during the before we came on the air, we had like 3 minutes to go, and Guillermo wrapped things up. I mean, he's usually doing things all the way to the wire, and I said, "You got 3 minutes. How many things can a millennial? How much can you do in 3 minutes before we go on the air?" Well, he proceeded to go after it, and I stopped counting at 15. He checked his email. He checked. He called back. Text somebody else back. He carried a conversation with Jose to get something about some speakers or something. I don't know. And then
I did a Google survey. Made 12 cents.
A Google survey.
Yeah.
We got a caller.
And we got Laura on the line. I'm looking. You guys are going to be surprised. Laura sent me an email today on this thing about the shooter in Buffalo. Very interesting in regards to how this fellow's being portrayed and getting the total picture, underscore total picture of who this person is. There's a lot of stuff about, or some stuff that I think is very interesting that is being left out by the media for one reason or another. And I'll let you decide before it comes on the line. But we're going to get back to this Trump, because listen, I think.
You think I'm right? I know.
Well, Trump he's a significant influence in the party. He did a lot of good things. It's just the timing, everything, a situation's timing and conditions call on different personalities at different times. And if you can't get someone in terms of the values of, embracing the free market system, right to life, secure borders, lower taxation, school choice, energy independence, all that stuff, and you have no one but a certain candidate that's embracing those values, and that means something to you, then of course you go with that individual. But Trump's been there, and there's been a history in life and period when people try to do comebacks, take Brady out of the picture, but they're not too successful. And I think people are just worn out. They want a fresh face in there. And I think in Ron DeSantis, you have that individual. He's proven it in Florida. Governors I think, are more prepared for presidency than senators. I don't know who the Democrats are going to put up. It's not going to be Biden. You think he's going to?
100. Take it to the bank. I cannot be wrong.
You see him lasting there? I mean, he'll be doing the State of the Union from the Willow Creek Nursing Home down there on Ashland.
30 seconds.
I mean, he'll be changing his diaper while he's.
The reason I don't see them making any moves right now, prepping another candidate, the Democrats aren't stupid. Normally by now, they start floating names and they're not coalescing around Harris. They're not coalescing around Buttigieg. They're not. Gavin Newsom's not even making any moves.
10 seconds.
The establishments have already decided it's going to be Biden.
Yeah, I think Newsom may try to pull a Clinton. All the odds were against Clinton.
Yeah, I agree.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now. 559-899-1550.
And welcome back to Alan Autry. No Retreat Big Wednesday. Normally we have our brother here, Larry Powell. I know you're missing him. Larry's a little bit under the weather, but he's progressing nicely. And I know he would want me to send best wishes to all of the viewers and listeners here to our Wednesday show. And we're looking forward to having Larry back next Wednesday. Until then, we got Guillermo. I usually break into song right now, but I'll save you that. We're going to go to the phone lines. We got Laura Fisher, Florida. Laura, we got about 5 minutes. You got three subjects there. Which one you want to start with?
I want to hear her Trump one. Laura, could you please do us the honor?
My Trump one.
Well, was that one of
I don't have a Trump one.
Well, we were discussing who should be the Republican candidate in 2024, Trump or DeSantis.
Not DeSantis.
Oh yeah, right there.
Not DeSantis after what he just pulled with Disney and is now going to cost the taxpayers of the state of Florida nearly $2 billion. No, he needs to go. He needs to go. He is an idiot.
Well, okay. Alan.
Laura, don't beat around the bush. Tell me how you feel. We need to have straight talk on this show.
No. Let me tell you something else he did. Those textbooks that they said, no, we're going to reject them because they're full of CRT.
I'm going to name him.
Well, guess what?
Governor D. Pinata.
Them because the only example that they could give was from a college socioeconomics book that had absolutely nothing to do with those textbooks. What he was trying to do, he was trying to get $1 million donation from Capital Group, which was a company that Glenn Youngkin worked for at one time, and was going to let them be the sole provider of our textbooks. Well, they didn't want to do that. So now we have the 54 textbooks that he claimed were full of CRT. He can kiss my butt. I do not like that man.
You talk about
he's full of CRT or CRAP.
Man, I tell you, you talk about triggered. Wait. That was a double barrel shotgun triggered. That one just one. Laura said went right into that. Like, well, okay. I have a little different view than you and Guillermo, and we'll go from there.
And the
But
other
listen, let's
reason
go.
I don't like DeSatan is because he's buddies with Matt Gaetz. And every time I see Matt Gaetz on TV, I don't know if he's out to talk about politics or declare war on Batman. He's like Harley Quinn and the Joker's baby.
DeSatan. You ever see that Dana Carvey skit where he plays a church lady and everything bad's caused? Could it be Satan? Maybe.
It's him. He's running Florida.
You know who's doing that now? What I'm realizing, it's sounding like a live skit with Dana Carvey, except now it's Putin. You just put Putin.
Oh no!
There's world starvation all over the world.
Putin.
Could it be Putin? All right. I got you. You have something else though, and we will revisit this if my microphone doesn't explode in my face. It's starting to smoke right now.
Is it really?
Well, Florida, man.
Okay. I was like,
Laura's on fire here. It's coming through the radio.
We haven't sanitized.
All right,
since...
but you sent me an email, Laura, with some information that I thought was it was very, very interesting in the context of the shooter in Buffalo. We all agree, horrific shooting by any standards. It's horrible. Obviously, a racist, although I find it kind of interesting that there's no mention by President Biden of the mental health issue and crisis in this country, along with his condemnation of white supremacy, which he should have done that.
Even more
but there was
that he didn't mention what I pointed out to you.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm setting you up here. I'm teeing it up for you. And but there's something the media who wants to give you supposedly a real you see these headlines all the time in articles. Who is the killer? Who is this guy, Peyton Gendron? And they're going to give you all the information that you need to know. The headlines, how many times have we seen it? What you need to know about the Buffalo shooter. But there's an aspect of the Buffalo shooter that I find very interesting that you dug up, and tell the folks about it, because we don't hear anything about it. And we should.
Okay, well, first, I sent you 3 photos, all side by side, okay?
I'm looking at them now.
The photo on the left, I want you to understand, and the photo on the right, I got those from CNN, okay? So that I find very humorous that they didn't put this together. But the young man is in a photo wearing a shirt with a Black Sun insignia. And his manifesto that he published online is emblazoned with a Black Sun insignia. The Black Sun insignia is the insignia of the Azov Battalion, which is the paramilitary organization that was in Mariupol in the steel plant.
Yeah. I've been pointing that out on the show. And folks, here's what you... Well, just to fill folks in how ironic or how, interesting this is, it's complicated. I talk a lot about selective morality and being very cautious before you play holier than thou, especially when you're talking about a war and atrocities, thinking that the horrifying atrocities are committed only by our enemies. In this situation, folks, what Laura's referring to, this Azov Battalion is a legitimate member of the Ukraine military. Honored.
The National Guard.
It's a National Guard, all volunteer group there, but a group that in 2014 was given an award and acknowledged at a ceremony by the heads of state and the military as the top military aspect of all the forces of Ukraine, exhibiting great proficiency, bravery, courage during that war in Crimea. Here's the catch on it.
That's not all of it. More than that.
Well, let me tell them who. Let me tell them who. Then I'll turn it over to you. This Azov Battalion are avowed white supremacists, Nazis. They make no bones about it. They believe they're part of a superior race. And as Laura said in her email, is it not ironic that we're pulling for racist Nazis to defeat the Russians? Yeah, I am too. I am too.
Arming them.
And arming them. President Biden is arming these white supremacists to defeat the Russian, because there is a time win war, because war is ugly, you got, at least in your mind and your soul, if not pick the lesser of the two evils, the evil that best helps you win your war. And a lot of people don't know that. You don't hear that, as Laura said. Now, Laura, I'm going to let you go ahead. You had some other information you want to say, but it's a very complicated thing, and there is moral, selective moral outrage, if you will. You know, on one hand, you have Joe Biden grilling no place for white supremacists in this world, not even America in the world. Yet I guess there's a place for them in Ukraine when they're fighting Russians. There's certainly a place for white supremacists there, if you follow his logic.
Well, not only that, what you have to understand is that after they received that award in 2014, they grew in number to approximately 22,000. They were then dispatched to the Donbass region in late 2015 to fight Russian separatists. So what Putin said wasn't wrong.
Right.
And he said he was going to liberate the Russian people from Nazis.
Exactly.
What he said was the truth.
Exactly.
He wasn't lying. It wasn't propaganda. That is what happened. Those were the people that were fighting in the Donbass region, killing Russian separatists.
And please, folks out there, and the media, people that attack me here, that go after me locally, will you please grow freaking up? Pointing this out does not make me or Laura support Putin or this invasion. I absolutely condemn it. I absolutely condemn it.
I've got evidence to back up what I'm saying.
Well, the point is, though, that the media and this government tends to think we're so stupid, so easily malleable, our morals, that if you bring up that there is Nazis in there fighting, that we're going to suddenly go, oh, they're Nazis, we're going to support Putin. Or Putin, that's enough of a reason for Putin to start bombing hospitals and killing children and pregnant mothers. Gee, Merry Christmas, no. But what it does serve is an understanding of the situation to get to the negotiation table, because unless you take that into consideration, you don't have all of that as you try to work through this complex situation and stop saying you want to grind Putin and the country of Russia into dust, as Austin said, and the president basically has concurred.
I want to bring that up. I need to bring that up real quick because that pertains to the EU and part of what I had to tell you about the EU. They are not reporting that here in the United States. However, 17 European Union nations wrote a letter to the European Commission disavowing the United States and saying that they no longer wanted to support United States sanctions against Russia because they did not believe that the United States was acting in the best interest of peace. And they cited what Lloyd Austin said on Ukrainian soil.
Exactly. Listen. What man meant for evil, God.
But it's all over the news over there.
The Bible says, "What man meant for evil, God meant for good." And this whole military-industrial complex that General Eisenhower warned us about way back. This came from the general who played a big part in defeating the Germans and the Japanese in World War II. Comes from an authority. He said, "Be very cautious, because this organization feeds on itself. It will grow as big as you will let it to grow. It will gain as much power as you let it gain." And he says you have to watch it. And you look at where these contracts are going. You pointed it out, Laura, very clearly. You follow the dots, follow the money, and you'll see Austin when he leaves the position of Secretary of Defense, will go to work for one of these defense contractors, which are going to make billions and billions of dollars, of which there's a stipulation on this $33 billion meant to get equipment. You have to buy it through an American defense contractor.
Yeah, I know. And
so,
he's one of the biggest shareholders of Raytheon.
War is a big moneymaker, and that's why you see these people, Austin, Blinken, Biden, and there's Republicans as well. They're like starving dogs in a meat house. Lindsey Graham. What's with this guy? What's happened to Lindsey Graham?
In regard to what I was saying about the EU, this is important because the big three, Germany, France, and Italy, they're in a power struggle over the EU right now. Well, they want to continue the way things are going because they're all invested in Raytheon and these other corporations as well here in the U.S. They do more of their investing over here than they do with China. So they're fine with that. So you know what they want to do on May 21st? They want to take away national veto power from the smaller Eastern Bloc countries and all of the countries that signed off saying that they were mad at the United States. Because right now, as it stands, when all 27 representatives get together at the European Commission when they discuss foreign policy and security issues. If one country objects, then
Right.
it's off the table.
It's a veto, yeah.
Well, now they change that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
So
fixed
that if
game.
one of these
Talk
smaller
about
countries
rigged.
can't
Yeah.
veto it on their own. It
Talk
has to be
about
one
rigged.
of the big three to second it.
Well, all right, Laura, I appreciate it. We got to take a break here. Thank you so much for calling in. And maybe free throw.
It's very, very quick. It's very quick, but it's very important.
The music's
Xi
playing.
Jinping is out of power.
What's that?
Yeah.
Xi Jinping brain aneurysm.
Xi Jinping had a brain aneurysm?
He
Wow.
has a cerebral brain aneurysm.
Oh, my
I'm
goodness.
looking this up.
All right, we'll look it up. Laura, thank you.
Thank you. We
talk
love
to you
Laura.
again later this week. We love us some Laura. We'll be right
Xi
back.
Jinping.
This is Alan Autry, No Retreat.
Yeah, we haven't seen him around at all.
So does he find anything there?
I don't. You know what? That's.
Melissa just emailed me. Oh gosh, this is gonna get you. This is. Did you hear Biden's in the hospital? Yeah, he couldn't stop Putin.
That's a good one. You gotta come back with that.
We gotta laugh through the tears. Come on, folks. I mean, that's,
Yeah, it's Sky News Australia. There.
what about it?
Deadly.
Today?
Yesterday, Sky News Australia.com.au.
None of the mainstream picked it up.
The Chinese.
Oh, did you see the disinformation board has been put on pause?
Yeah, because their leader is suffering a brain aneurysm.
You know,
Too soon.
that
Too soon.
is pretty quick. No.
Too soon.
Well,
There's so
we
much.
wish, you know what? I don't wish.
Oh, ill on anyone. No, for sure. But
I don't wish anybody dying without knowing Jesus. I just don't.
Yeah.
'Cause you know. But God's in control.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
He reminds us of that pretty much every single day.
Amen. They're still working on the Capitol. Every time you look at a shot of the Capitol, it's always under construction.
Hey, union workers.
Yeah,
They do a good job. They do a good job. They want to make sure everything is perfect. I love
Yeah,
the unions.
yeah.
I'm a member of 3 of them.
Well, that and January 6th
You
just
notice
tore the
how I
place
pivoted
up.
out of that, huh?
And January 6th just tore it up. They had to start all over
gosh.
again.
Where's the Viking guy? Is he still in jail?
Yeah, he's
He's going to be there for a while?
he's
Nobody's rushing to defend him.
Nope.
He's there.
nope. Oh man, there's so much to talk about. I don't even know. It's one of those days where you're just like, where do you start?
I don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other lover. I don't. My wife Kimberly, I love her. It's just you I'm thinking of.
Did you watch the movie or something?
What?
Are you a member of the?
I'm just all shook up today, baby.
Are you a member of the Academy? Like, do you get movies ahead of time?
No, I
30
used
seconds?
You used to be a member of the Academy?
No, but I get the movies. I don't know why. I was a member of something, not the Academy. I remember. I just wasn't, didn't have the right breeding. I wasn't of the right stock. And you're born in Shreveport, Louisiana. There's just certain things the
10
Academy
seconds?
can't get.
I knew a guy. He was a physical therapist. He was on the Academy. I was like, you never acted on your life.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Oh, welcome back to the show, Jeremy. I like the song WCW McCall. We played that during the Canadian trucker thing, so not quite on our subject matter. Whatever happened to the Canadian truckers? Did Trudeau execute them summarily?
I think he arrested them.
He put them in the gulag?
Yeah, they're gone.
Up there in Quebec?
No more honking.
They're up there. Chasing the reindeer.
Yeah,
up there.
don't you know?
Golly, that guy. Well, I tell you, he really gets under Jordan Peterson's skin.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, gosh, I saw an interview with Jordan Peterson. I mean, a relatively new one a couple of weeks ago. They had a quote. They had Trudeau up there. They came back after the interview, and Jordan Peterson says, I hate this guy. It just makes me ill to watch the guy. And he's normally pretty restrained.
Was he triggered like Laura was with DeSantis?
No, Laura was double triggered.
That was awesome.
Man, I was not a talk show host. I wasn't a talk show host. I was a human pinata. She was giving me so many rights, I was praying for a left. Just sing.
Oh, man.
You ever hear, listen to the soundtrack when Schwarzenegger's in a fight? No. It sounds the same. He uses the same soundtrack.
Oh, my God.
Take that. All right, Ana Navarro. You know who Ana Navarro is?
Unfortunately, is she still classified as a Republican? Does she still say she's a Republican?
She is, and George Bush. She loves George Bush.
She does.
In fact, I
don't think George Bush is bad.
I consider myself a friend of George W. Bush. We spent 45 minutes alone in a limousine. I'll tell you how that happened, and got to know the man really. I mean, as much you can in 45 minutes. But there was periodic things where I met him later on because I was serving as mayor. Sometimes he was president. A great heart, great Christian man, willing to make the tough decisions. Now, didn't always agree with all the decisions, but many that I did. But Ana Navarro, she's a regular guest on The View. So my wife watches The View, and so I'm in there making breakfast, listening every now and then. And we have this graphic that she wrote an article not too long ago.
She can write?
She can write. And she just does not like me or people like me. The name of the article, if you can see it here, folks on radio can't see it, so I'll read it for you. The name of the article she wrote, 2013, was Old White Straight Male Voters Ain't What They Used to Be. And in one of the quotes from the article says, it's hard to imagine future scenarios where the Republican Party can win national elections because they're made up primarily of old, white, straight male voters.
And they ain't what they used to be.
Well, I agree with her. I ain't what I used to be, but dadgum. I mean, you talk about singularly taking a demographic and describing them to the T, and I hit them all. Old, white, straight, and male. And now that's just open season on us.
You are public enemy number one.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to have to escape to the hills, put on that camouflage. They're going to be coming at us, bagging. My head's going to be on Ana Navarro's thing like the deer there. But, why do you think that is? Well, why you hear it? I mean, the party goes and elects an old, white, I think he's straight. But she's never come out and said he's straight.
Yeah.
He's got a couple of kids and a straight male to be their leader.
Talking about Biden, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, how do they reconcile that?
Because he's not white or old.
He's what?
I said Biden's not white.
Did Corn Pop make him an honorary African American?
Biden's not white or old.
He held a Corn Pop down and says, "Call me brother. Call me brother. You better call me brother."
So listen,
and Corn Pop finally just gave in.
He just like Bill Clinton, I guess. The problem is the true liberals, which is Ana Navarro, she's not a Republican, and neither. Did you know that? And I found this out today.
She's not even an El. No, she is an El Camino. No, she would be. I'm a Republican when I feel like being a Republican, and I'm a Democrat. I'm two. Can't be two.
She's a
house divided. Can't stand.
She's anyhow. I heard a saying went something like this earlier today. I am not a part of any organized political party. I'm a Republican.
That's a Will Rogers statement, boy. That's good stuff, man.
Because here's the problem: are we as bad as she says? Absolutely not.
Well, you're not an old, straight, white male.
I'm not.
You're being off. I'm being discriminated. What is so evil about old, straight? Hey,
you
old,
guys
white, straight have done some bad things, but old, white, straight males have done some good things. There's a lot of good old, white, straight males that are good surgeons. And if you're Ana Navarro and that surgeon, she gets to pick between an old, white, straight male and a progressive Democratic doctor who finished 500th in his class, and the old white straight male, despite all of those terrible things, finished at the top. Who's Hannah going to want to operate on her? The old white straight male.
This is just, and I said this a while back. I said I have no idea what the left is going to try and bring up this year, because they're going to get hammered. They're going to get, just leveled in the primary. In the midterm elections. And we're starting to see what they're doing now. They're starting to say, oh, Trump has no more control of this party. Look at his candidates. They're not winning by big margins. And then it's the Anna Navarro. I don't know how Republicans are going to win anymore. It's these old white Republicans.
They're going to die
off. They're insulting because they still believe that the only people in the Republican political party are white males. Which is not true.
Let me dig that. This is where I wanted to ultimately go with this conversation. I wanted to get a little deeper in her statement. Could not a very logical, deductive case be made by that statement that she feels that every person of color and every person who is young, and particularly of color, are going to vote progressive?
Absolutely.
Isn't that kind of a racist, bigoted type belief in your head? You automatically assume
absolutely
that all of those that Mexican family living here in the Central Valley, those work there, is going to vote against the Republican values of less government, secure borders, non-burdensome taxation for individuals, families, and businesses, that are pro-life, that believe we should be energy independent. That those are just ideas embraced by old, white, straight males. To me, couldn't that be said? Because she basically said...
It's worse than that, because I'm okay with that statement. As much as offensive it is for you, Al, I'm okay with the statement. I don't like it. But what I find interesting is...
I for her to say it, I'll defend her right to say it. I don't want her canceled.
Yeah,
but I can come on this show.
I wouldn't mind if she got canceled, but I wouldn't be out there.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be calling for it.
But this goes deeper, because she doesn't just believe that minorities vote Democrat and white people vote Republican. It goes deeper. She believes fundamentally that minorities are not successful. They cannot succeed without help. And we're all uneducated, and we're going to work menial jobs, which is backed up by the Democrat Party and their fight for 15, and now it's a fight for 20. And then they believe that every white person is successful. They all have money bags like the Monopoly guy. They all live in mansions around town, and they all drive big gas-guzzling Hummers, and they all inherited about $2.4 million, so their bank accounts are stuffed. So I don't have a problem with that statement. I have a problem with the fact that she believes what's further behind that, which is there's only white people can succeed, brown people cannot, and this is being taught to and I think it was Dennis Prager. I was up like at 4:30 this morning, and I was listening to more talk radio because I
was as well
at 4:30.
Going to the bathroom for the 15th time. GTMI?
Turn on.
You wait till you're 69, dude.
Turn on. They got. Now
go ahead.
I'm not going to say it. Never mind. So I was listening to Dennis Prager, and he was talking about how in college they're starting to teach you, and well, not starting. This has been going on for a while. That if you're a minority, you can never be racist because you're oppressed, and if you're a white person, you've always been racist from day one. CRT. This is the natural evolution. And he said this is just it's mind-boggling. Yes. This is these assumptions now.
Yeah, they think folks think that the first words out of a white baby's mouth is Zeke Heil.
Yeah.
No, they do.
Yeah.
Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
That's their baby. Not mommy, not daddy. Heil Hitler. They're convinced of that. But let's connect another dot because you're onto something. Is it not this whole attitude as you're talking about, this condescension, this soft bigotry, if you will, this cloaked bigotry that you got to say what? Wait a minute. I never thought about what you're actually doing here, what you're actually saying here. To the education system, which many, the progressive movement out there, one of the big movements is to lower the standards in schools, getting rid of the honors program, getting rid of any kind of singling out of success and honoring that success under the premise of equity.
Yeah.
That if all students can't reach that, then you lower the bar. That's communism because you can't have everybody have wealth. We're going to lower it. So the most you can expect is to make $1,500 a month, maybe. That we're going to lower that because the system will allow us equity to be that. Is it not a kick in the face and absolute racism to say that Hispanic kids and black kids, given the right circumstances, and many grow up in very challenged neighborhoods, but given the chance to work with those kids like Thomas Sowell, who's a big proponent of keeping those honors programs, keeping the stars for everyone to reach for, including the minorities, to say that we've given up on you. You don't have the capability as a little Mexican kid who may be failing right now. So we're not going to work with you to lift you up and help you and mentor you and give you extra help to be able to get into that honors program, which could change your life because you've set a goal and you're there. You just get rid of it. So that, to me, that's the ultimate form of racism, is to say, we've got to lower the bar because you don't have it in you. You're just not intelligent. That was the theory, folks. I'm telling you this. Look it up. That was part of this dangerous ideology called eugenics that was permeated the world, actually, and was here in America well into the 1920s. Calvin Coolidge was an adherent of it. Margaret Sanger, who started Planned Parenthood, was part of it. That certain nationalities were just not as smart. They did not have the potential of other nationalities, and you needed to slowly eradicate them, keep them out of society so the society could be pure.
Yeah. Well,
that's dangerous stuff.
It's dangerous, and it's crazy how the left has marketed the Planned Parenthood and how they're good and their history isn't as bad as you want to make it seem, which is exactly what you referenced. But you said they keep lowering the bar. Even worse, not only are they lowering the bar and saying, hey, minorities, this is really all you can achieve. You look at, and I don't like calling out Fresno State, but I do anyways. You look at Fresno State, they have, not only are they lowering the bar, but they're grouping everyone. This time of year, you have graduation, right? And this just gets under my skin every single year.
How many do they have now? African-American, white.
The white, Latino. It's outrageous. So why do you have, it's graduation. You have achieved a great accomplishment, and that's debatable these days. You have achieved something, and you should respect that and be in a community of your peers, which represents America, right? We're always about, we got to represent America, but these universities right now all across the nation are having their Latino by first person graduation, and then you have it's really just
it does not sit well with me at all. I just didn't grow up in a world like that, and I think the world I grew up was better. I'm just going to come out and say it.
Amen. Yeah.
And let me ask you this: we talk about diversity. I'm going to ask you this question: what is more important, and what should be celebrated more? Diversity. In fact, you have a lot of different people that look different colors, speak different languages, different customs. To celebrate that as the number one thing, or should the celebration be the commonalities that all of those ethnicities and races have in common? Which should be championed more? Hey, look, we're diverse. We're all different. Look how different we are. Or should it be, hey, what race, what parent, regardless of their race, ethnicity, their religion, doesn't want their children to have a good life, to grow up in a safe neighborhood?
Neither.
No, I don't know any. So having safe neighborhoods, law and order, is something we all share in common. Yeah. You can come over. I can have some Okie food over there. Moreno can come over, cook some Mexican food.
Yeah.
Jose, that's great to share those customs. Cinco de Mayo, July 4th, But the true celebration is all of those things we have in common. We love our kids. We love our country. And
the question was, what should we celebrate, diversity or us coming together? I say don't celebrate nothing. I was so blessed to grow up in a community where I didn't realize.
But you're a real dud.
And I was.
Don't you celebrate birthdays?
No, don't celebrate.
No, I don't. I'm just being silly.
No,
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Because I grew up in such a great community in Kerman, small town. I went to school I was the darkest kid in there, and there was white girls. We were a melting pot, and never in my mind. And I don't even think race came into I didn't realize it until maybe 5th or 6th grade. And I know people right now are saying, oh, come on, Moreno, you didn't realize the color of your skin. No, I realized I was brown. I realized I was Mexican. But that was never a topic. That never crossed my mind, and in my teachers, thank God, they never made it about any of that. So when you say, should we celebrate diversity, or should we, or should we celebrate
commonalities?
I said,
because you're still talking about the diverse,
just don't talk about it. The more you
look at everything, look at all we don't have in common. Let's go out and party,
right?
And celebrate, the nothing we have in common.
let's just focus on. Let's just focus on the task at hand. Like we're talking about schools,
like
right?
living together in a very difficult world and helping one another out.
And there's no
lending a helping hand to each other.
There's no black gas stations or white gas stations or brown gas stations. We're all pumping gas, right? We're all paying $7 frickin', and it doesn't matter. Let's just get back to the basics, get back to life, and just living together. And I'll say this because nobody wants to say this, but this focus on race, I believe, has made a lot of people really, I don't know how to say this without sounding just horrible, so maybe I won't say it. You know where I'm going. The focus on race I think it's having some really, really bad consequences in people because they're saying, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
But why am I being called? Why?
And they're starting to push back. And you know what? You know what's happening too? You're getting a lot of people in the African American community, the Mexican community, the Hispanic community as a whole, and others saying, you know what? You need the white people. You need to push back. If you're white and you're being vilified, you need to push.
That's what I was telling you.
Don't jump on this. Oh yeah, you support the white supremacists. Get out of here. You're idiots. I don't call names, but anybody that would say that what I just said, they're simply saying it's gone too far. They see it, and like Thomas Sowell said, who I quote quite often, he says, you have to stand up for yourself. You're not a racist. Don't sit there and cower and accept it. That's one of the worst things you can be called. That's what, there's child abuse, spousal abuse, and racism. That's three of the worst things. And if that doesn't get your fire burning, your wood's wet.
Yep.
And you can't have wood wet in your soul. You got to be willing to say, you've gone far enough. Okay? You're gone far. Because not only are they called, if they call you a racist, or if I called you a racist, I'm calling Mrs. Moreno racist because she raised you. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about your mother.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then when people come to me and say, well, you're a racist because, as Nan Navarro said, you can't help but be a racist because of who you're, a white, straight male. Of course you're a racist. And you play a cop, a white cop on TV in the South. Of course you're racist. And when they say that, I said, do you know my mother? Well, no, what does that mean? Well, you just insulted my mother. My mother taught me, you look at truly the content of the character, not the color of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that was equal opportunity cotton we all worked in when I was a kid. I saw how my mother treated black women, how they treated her. And we watched each other's kids. Black lady would watch me. She would watch the black lady's kid, the Hispanic kids. We're all really a family up there. So that's my upbringing. And so call me what you want, but you start insulting my family lineage.
Yeah.
And I'm going to defend my mother.
Yeah.
And people don't realize they throw around those names, the word racist. And I just think people are getting sick of it. I think the pushback is coming. People are feeling more courageous about standing up and not fearing the consequences of saying, hey, I'm not a racist. I resent it. And push back.
I don't know why we have to say that. Like, I don't know why we have to say, like, hey, I'm not a racist. It's back when I was growing up, you weren't a racist.
Because the institutions embraced this far woke, far left insanity of a gender neutral world, born racist. All of this crazy, insane stuff got into the system somehow. And now we got to push it out and expel it out. Well, we hear old Roy coming. We know Wonderful Wednesday's coming to an end. Larry, get well. We miss you. Thank you, Guillermo. God bless you. And just remember, do your best. Let God do the rest, and you'll be just fine. See you tomorrow on Thursday. Bye-bye.